Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Curtis Selby, your tired midnight blogger. What blogs in this case at 7:02 p.m. I decided last minute to do an impromptu stream. For all kinds of different reasons. One, I have two topics, so it just made sense to do two streams. And two, without the Monday night movie, I mean, I could probably search out someone else's stream and watch it, but I just thought I would get a little bit done today. Today's topic: not guilty, no one is above the law. Originally, I had been simply and only going to be talking about Trump, whether or not it was a good thing that his charges were dropped. I've decided I will also talk a little bit, at any rate, about Hunter Biden, whether or not it was a good thing for his father to pardon him. It's a delicate topic, and while my avatar here suggests that I have a bias, which I do, it's really not as simple of a question, to me anyway, as it would seem. Lady Mist, hello. Thank you very much for the flowers. You are so welcome. Hopefully this one doesn't irritate you too bad. As you know, I have my bias, but we'll see if I can get through this and still have some vague semblance of objectivity. Thank you for showing up and for the kindness and flowers. Going to take a swig of water here. Maybe give it a minute or two for a few other people to show up. Like I said, I know I did this last minute, so hopefully I can be forgiven for being impromptu. All right, I will stop the rock music. Evidently, whoever else has been in here has been scared away. Trump's above the law. Why not a few Dems have that too? Yeah, that's just it. And kind of this is my point, sort of. Each side accuses the other of being above the law. And again, I do have my bias, I have my preference. But a long time ago, I just felt that this whole thing was kind of ridiculous. You know, this person's above the law, that person's above the law. And in the end, I think that it is true that there's a two-tiered justice system. And I think it isn't so much whether you're a Dem or a Republican. I think it's whether or not you are part of that elite crowd. Hey, LDG, free the net. Innocent people should always be above the law. Yeah, well, fair enough. I think we've talked a little bit about that, if not in person, at least I have a hope on my channel. I think that one of the things that both sides have done have been to make so many laws and so many confusing laws that at any given time, if you want to go after someone, you simply can. Just find some arbitrary law, and odds are pretty good that you can find one that somebody's broken, and then go prosecute them. So we'll see what we can find out and discuss on this. Howdy, and welcome, LDG Free the Net. And I hope that you have been doing well. Everyone, if there is anyone that listens to this after the fact, because I think Lady Miss is probably already aware of it, please go to LDG Free the Net and help the movement to make an app that will free us from the confines of the big tech companies. Lady Miss says, I don't care if Hunter got pardoned. Trump did that last time when he was in office, so why complain about it? It's a fair point. It is a fair point. Every president pardoned somebody, and every president, at least in my lifetime, has pardoned somebody that somebody felt should not have been. Jeff B., welcome, welcome. Howdy and hail. Well, let's go ahead. There's a few of you here. Let's dive into this topic. I am going to start with old news because to me, this stuff goes quite a ways back, or at least my thinking about it goes quite a ways back. After January 6th, I definitely had questions. I was wondering what was going on. I was wondering if I had gone crazy, if the media was perhaps right about a lot of things. And I'm sure it was right about some things that I was wrong about. But I've also done my quest here and learned that there were a ton of media lies that I did not know about at the time. I'm going to reference my own blog post here. Hopefully, I may not perfectly connect the dots, but hopefully I connect them at least a little bit. It's my party and I'll lie if I want to. This was back when they had found all those top secret documents. I'm sure all of you remember this iconic photo that essentially the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago and found all these top secret things. And it was a great big fiasco. I was questioning Trump's intelligence and sanity at the time because I really believed that surely if I had top secret documents, I'd secure them a little bit better than this. I don't know if anyone else remembers the confusion that was going on at the time. The right was basically accusing the left of lawfare and of using the FBI against their candidate. And the left was saying, well, quite a few things. They were talking things about treason. They were talking things about violating the Espionage Act. There's a lot of sabers rattled and a lot of very serious threats made. Question is, were they legitimate? And if so, why did they just disappear? Please feel free to put in your comments. I didn't come up with an answer at this time, but I thought I would at least share some of it. You cannot solve a problem from the same consciousness that created it. You must learn to see the world anew. At the time, I wanted to start, and I think I will in this one too, with the scandal that actually won Trump his presidency to begin with in the first place. Hillary Clinton and her controversial emails. Most of you will remember almost every news agency in 2016 was predicting that Hillary Clinton would win the presidency. Does that sound familiar? Not to rub it in, but something similar did happen this time around. Why does any outgoing president need to have those or need them? I mean, that for both Dems and reps. Well, it's a good question. It really is. Essentially, there was a scandal at the time. I don't know if you all remember it, but there was Trump came out in his over-the-top way and announced that Clinton was guilty of something as bad as Watergate, and there was this big thing about her emails. And since then, well, nothing's happened with her emails. Kind of like not much has happened with these charges of espionage and treason. I don't know if you see a connection. I kind of think I do. I am almost certain that if I had classified documents in my closet, I would be in jail. Just saying. She had a little trouble with not telling the truth, so she lost my vote. 100%. No, yeah, 100%. I don't want to completely trash on the Clintons, but I have not been a fan of theirs for some time. That doesn't necessarily mean that you should be pro-Trump, but it's the context of where we're at. Essentially, elections have been won and lost due to scandals and information being held either on laptops or in closets. I talk a little bit about the election here, but I will spare you that. But I wanted to bring up those old topics to remind people there were several things that upended all the predictions, but the whole email scandal to me was the real thing. It was the October surprise. And I really wonder if Trump would have won in the first place if it weren't for that laptop fiasco. And then I do some talking about how that scandal compares to Trump's current difficulties with Mar-a-Lago. Both scandals were FBI investigations. Both candidates claimed the FBI was out to get them. I think sometimes we forget that it's not just Trump that's making the claim that the FBI is out to get them, and that the investigations were simply political efforts to destroy them. Both scandals were reported to Americans as breaches of top secret security. Both sides claimed the other was either grossly negligent with sensitive material or possibly even colluding with our enemies, Russia, China, outer but fuck you name it. Both are famous wealthy people who belong to the upper 0.09% of wealth compared to the American population at large. Both sides vociferously insisted that the accused be arrested as criminals. Now, Trump now has backed off of that and says that he really wasn't out to have her arrested. I have no idea he didn't have her arrested. I think that is something to consider. But there sure was a lot of lock her up. And frankly, there was a fair amount of lock him up in this election. Rich politicians don't go to jail, so it seems. That's kind of the point I'm making. As of this writing, neither side has been charged, and I don't know if they ever did charge Trump on Mar-a-Lago, but it's gone nowhere. Basically, the FBI admitted, I mean, if we need to, I'll look up the source, but to my understanding, the FBI admitted that they flubbed the case, and evidently some of that, maybe not all of it, but some of it seems to have been planted, and so the case just kind of went away. Whether any of that's true, I don't know. But for good or ill, the case just went away. Last of all, while there is great polarization, it is an unarguable fact that a substantial percentage of Americans feel betrayed by one or both of these erstwhile political opponents. I go into a lot of detail about that case, and I won't do that here because it's kind of a moot point at this time. Essentially, for 2, 3, 4 years, however long, lots of people throwing mud, claiming that lots of things are going on, and then nothing happens. Lady Mist, what else? If he could, he would have locked her up. You already know what I think of him. I know. And I don't know. I don't know that he would have. But I do know that that is what you think of him. And if the media could be believed, it would absolutely be true. That's the picture that they painted of him. Jeff B. thought it was interesting. Hunter got pardoned for the past 11 years. Yeah, it is kind of an interesting thing. We're not specifically pardoning him for one thing. We're just giving him a blank carte blanche we're going to pardon him for anything he did in the last 11 years. I'm not saying that that's necessarily wrong, but I think I can forgive my right-leaning friends for being upset about it. Honestly, I'm to the point where I just want some of these people to go away. But I promised I'd do a little bit of talking about this, so let's see what all else we can find. The big thing has been, ever since we started trying to prosecute Trump, nobody is above the law. That's the statement that we've been told over and over again, to the point where I'm actually sick of hearing it, because I think most of us understand that it's really not true. You hit that certain level and you frankly are above the law. It is a two-tier justice system. Now, if you want to argue that Trump was part of it or not, that is all debatable. You probably know what side I'm on, but I could easily be wrong. Let's see if any of these look like they're worth looking at. I basically just searched for nobody is above the law. And so just tons and tons of things show up, all of them obviously about Trump. You're not going to get any right-leaning information out of this. Oh, wait, there is one thing. Tucker Carlson, he has his thing here. So let's try to be a little bit fair here. Let's do the MSNBC take, and then let's do Tucker's Fox take. That way we've got both sides. Enigma Severus, welcome. I hope you have been well and that essentially teaching is going well. Rules for thee, not for thee, plain as day. But do not believe your lying eyes. You can't believe your lying eyes. Haha. All right. So let's listen to at least a little bit of what
tonight,
a couple of years ago.
On the readout,
we will hold accountable anyone who is criminally responsible for attempting to interfere with the transfer of legitimate, lawful transfer of power from one administration to the next.
Attorney General Merrick Garland, in a rare interview, tells NBC's Lester Holt what might happen next in the DOJ's investigation of the January 6th insurrection. Speaking of which, the man who caused it all was back in Washington today, and many of the same Republican politicians who are running up that hill still came out to kiss his ring. Plus, the pain that Alex Jones inflicted on the families of the Sandy Hook massacre victims as he stands trial for defamation. NBC's Lester Holt, Attorney General Merrick Garland said the department's investigation is moving at an unprecedented speed, and he refuses to rule out prosecuting the twice impeached former president for his actions.
You said in no uncertain terms the other day that no one is above the law.
Yeah.
That said, the indictment of a former president, of perhaps candidate for president, would arguably tear the country apart. Is that your concern as you make your decision down the road here? Do you have to think about things like that?
Look, we pursue justice without fear or favor. We intend to hold anyone who was criminally responsible for events surrounding January 6th, for any attempt to interfere with the lawful transfer of power from one administration to another.
All right. Well, so there he is saying he's going to prosecute. And people got prosecuted, and likely some people should have gotten prosecuted. I'm not one of these right-wingers that says nothing happened, but I do think there's something weird and wonky going on about things. Evening, Frosty B. Rocks, Insights of Canada. Welcome. I hope you are doing well. Enigma Severus is doing good. A lot of workouts, lots of school crap, but doing good. Darth Plato, welcome. The most predictable Biden move. Yeah. And again, I am going to talk about it, but I'm not going to hop up and down too much about it. But I did expect it to happen. And as a father, I can barely blame him. You know, your son screwed up. If you have the power, you make it as good as you can for him. Still, I got to tell you, the shredded right winger in me, it does leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. Lady Miss, government needs to stop trying to lock up people and then make them mad. Agreed, and I would say that on both sides. That was to protect him from petty charges and wasting tax money trying to lock up someone they don't like or want revenge. Darth Plato, it was a riot, not an insurrection. I tend to agree with you, actually, which doesn't necessarily, again, doesn't make it right or doesn't mean that nobody should have been prosecuted. But it was kind of both. I would disagree with you, Lady Miss, respectfully, and I'll tell you why. If it had been an insurrection, you would have had armed people essentially not just attacking a building, but invading, trying to take the government, trying to take over the government. And this is the one thing that has baffled me ever since. If this was an insurrection, why did none of that happen? The people who attacked the Capitol building, they didn't pretend that they were a new legislature. That would have been what an insurrection would have been. But it definitely was a riot. I don't want to poo-poo it too badly. Darth Plato, Garland has been after the Republicans since Garland was denied a hearing for the Supreme Court. Frosty B. Rocks footage I saw showed Capitol Police escort them through the gates. Yeah. And again, not to poo-poo the other footage, but this is the thing that I can't seem to get. And I don't want to lump you in, Lady Mist, with other liberals or even say that you're liberal, but I am curious what you think. If you've seen the footage that shows the Capitol Police escorting people through the gates and up the walks, holding the door open for them, what do you make of that footage? I know my liberal friends just tell me that was all Photoshopped. I call a BS on that because to me, one, I'm not a video expert, so I can't say. But two, the old tired right winger in me is like, well, hell, it's just as likely that was Photoshopped as that any of it was Photoshopped. So you end up at an impasse. Either all of that footage is worthy of looking at and needs to be taken into account by both sides, or none of it is, and we just need to forget the whole damn thing. Which one? Darth Plato, don't fight with a mob. Don't risk injury. No, agreed. I wasn't there, but man, if I had been, I think my chief aim would have been to have left the area as quickly as possible, and also to try very hard not to look like I had anything to do with an actual riot or insurrection. Jeff B., it was inevitable Hunter got pardoned. It was his son after all, and it also protects Joe, which is true. Trump man still caused a riot, though. I think that was the price that needed to be paid. There was a price that needed to be paid. I understand. It was the start of one. They didn't win the day. But here's my question. If they didn't win the day, why didn't they? I guarantee if Napoleon had been there instead of Trump, or if Mustache Man had been there instead of Trump, the government would have been upended. Now, I used to believe the narrative that Trump was just that incompetent. He was so incompetent, he fumbled the ball on an insurrection that was practically handed to him. I don't believe that anymore. I don't think that's the case. Darth Plato, noticed the Hunter pardon. He was pardoned for everything going back to 2014, which dates back to his time in the Ukraine. Crazy, stinky. Had Trump shown up there, it would have gone the other way. Well, again, though, I have to ask, why didn't he show up? I mean, surely he knew something about what was happening. And I know right-wingers rightfully who criticized him for not doing more to calm the people down. Having said that, I don't see any legitimate reporting that's on the record. And when I say that, I mean reporting that hasn't since been debunked that says that he tried to fan the flames. He hasn't paid the price for, well, you know, here's the deal. Here's the thing. Likely I'm wrong, and I'm not God, so don't think that I'm thinking I speak for righteousness or anything like that. But I think that he, at least in the eyes of a lot of the people who voted for him, probably all of the people who voted for him, he has paid the price for the arrogance that he had then. He's had multiple lawfare things. He's had at least two assassination attempts. He's had his name just reviled as nobody ever has in my lifetime. He has been compared to Hitler. And if he is an even halfway decent man, that's a heavy price to pay. I don't think I could pay it. If I were Trump, hopefully, one, I wouldn't have been as arrogant, but two, I would have given up way before any of this. Like the Mar-a-Lago raid, fine. You guys want all the power, you keep all the power. I'm going to take about $1 billion and go to Barbados, and y'all can go screw yourselves. Darth Plato, one how. He didn't get Pence to certify the election. Pence wasn't going to do that. And to be fair, at the time, I felt that that was the right thing for Pence to do. Now, I don't really know what I think about that whole thing. I know we're at a weird place now where everything seems all messed up. Greetings, Sashi, the man from the future. I'm not a god. Sashi's been hoodwinked, bamboozled, unsubscribing. Darth Plato, there was a congressional Republican rep that had Trump on the phone, told Trump to make a public statement to get the crowd to back off. Yeah, I wish he had. Trump said, I guess they're more upset about the election than you are. That's pretty sketchy, which reinforces my stance that Trump had no business being in the White House. And I get that. Respectfully, though, a majority of the voters disagree. So what are we to make of that? Jeff B. wants to know who was in the crowd. He said, Jeff B. suggests, and I agree with him, that there were Fed plants in there. Likely we'll never know for sure. Darth Plato, you shouldn't. Pence acted correctly. You know, and again, if the numbers said that the election went one way, then absolutely I agree. Pence did the right thing. I've ended up not liking Pence for other reasons since then. But at this point, without doing some pretty strong research, I'm not going to criticize him for what he did on that day. Having said that, if I'm Trump, and you know, Trump's worldview, at least at the time, was win, 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 win. We will do, you know, within a certain amount of reason, anything it takes to win. And he had questions that he believed, and a lot of voters believed, were legitimate questions on that election. So I'm not criticizing Pence, but I'm also saying there's definitely more than one side to the story. And I don't know that anybody's really told it in its entirety. Lady Miss watched a history show from the past about Hitler and Trump. Does not seem like the Hitler in his early days. Yeah, you can make comparisons between anybody. And I know you're not doing this, but you can make comparisons between anybody and make anybody look like something horrible. But yeah, there's distinct differences. There's a lot of differences between the two. And, you know, there's probably a lot of good in that. We frankly don't want a mustache man. We need the Democrats to be profoundly wrong, and I think that they are. But again, trying to be respectful here. A lot of Westerners throw around the word fascist and despot too easily. We had quite a lot of those in these parts. We don't take that lightly. Right on, Sashi. Right on. Darth Plato, how is Trump like Hitler? They spoke publicly at rallies. Is there anything more than that? And there probably is, as far as, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Rhetoric is rhetoric. Basically, the things that persuade people are largely universal. So Hitler does X, Y, and Z and persuades people to do these things. Trump doesn't have to copy him to end up doing X, Y, and Z. He just has to try his best to be persuasive. I know that probably sounds equivocal, but I've watched so many of these videos, with respect to you, Lady Miss, because I know you disagree with this. I've watched so many of these videos where, Trump did this in this ad and Hitler did the exact same thing. And I'm thinking to myself, you don't have to be copying that other, because I can find, where Clinton did the same kind of video. I can find where Obama did the same kind of video. Both of the Bushes, Reagan. It's because what persuades. And so people, with all their campaign managers, they remember the old techniques. It doesn't necessarily mean that someone's Hitler, that they do some parade or something that's similar to what he did. Lady Miss is a liberal Republican, or you could say a conservative liberal. I understand. I think if I'm understanding you correctly, you're mostly open-minded. As I think mainly you stand on principles of honor, loyalty, certain moral things that sadly both sides have largely lost. We have talked a little bit about that. Sashi is correct. Lady Mist is not a follower. Good on you. That's fantastic. One of the reasons why I'm hopping up and down so much, though, is that people, and again, not yourself, but people who I would have said they weren't followers, they were very intelligent, they were very critical in the constructive way, have ended up just spouting a lot of media lies and just buying them hook, line, and sinker. And it's worried me very badly, because if they can believe those things, then it's easily possible I could believe those things. Mustache Man had the SS, the SA, whatever it was called, assaulting people. Yeah, that's one big difference. The East has taken the Western despotism and taken it to extremes. Oh, hey, what do we got? Darth Plato, I know one thing. Mustache Man would be supporting Israel. That's an interesting, and I don't know if you've watched her, but Moira Kitty, she has an interesting channel that talks about some of those very things. Oh, interesting comment, Darth Plato. Interesting comment. Sashi, I, however, am an absolute tyrant. I rule my shop with an iron fist. Unfortunately, I have no employees, so I end up being hard on myself. Lady Miss, you can disagree. I never liked Trump, not just since he has been in politics. I understand that. I've like I say, that this whole thing on this channel is me talking about how I didn't like him, I did like him, I didn't like him, and now I'm back to, I don't know about liking him, but supporting him. Darth Plato, I know one thing. Oh, H-Man would not be supporting Israel. Okay. Either one of those comments is interesting, but yeah, I get what you're saying. John Ponderero, I'm glad to see you're taking some time from digging out of that snow. Season Keeper, Dragon Keeper, hail Space Fraggle, Kapla, glory to you and your house. The Dragon Keeper, Lady Miss. That's one of the things we love about her. Everybody's saying hello. Just got online. Trump man is a Democrat running as a Republican with a bunch of tariff nonsense. Right on. No, I mean, that's the point of one of the things I talked about in my last stream. The Democrats won this last election. Trump was an ex-Democrat. Elon is, I think, still a Democrat. Tulsi Gabbard, RFK, these are ex-Democrats. Lots of people saying hello to each other. Lady Miss, that was many years after his starting his power. Hitler didn't start out killing the Jews. All of that evil came much later. Yeah, I've talked to people about that, and I don't know enough about it to discuss it intelligently here, but I do know that there was an evolution there, which is not to say that that makes it right or good, but there definitely was an evolution from basically just being a very silly person to being a tyrant that killed a bunch of people, had a bunch of people slaughtered. Glory to you and your house. Okay. Wait. Oh, here we go. CODIS Fact Search. Welcome. Thank you for taking some time to come here. I know you're a very busy person. Thank you and welcome. I'm sorry I've been so radio silent. I'm just kind of off and as far as life and the universe and everything. But welcome, and your comments and your thoughts are very welcome here. Hitler was created by the communists, and that's actually the discussion that I was referring to just now. There was an evolution to the mustache man. Darth Plato, if we say H-man spelled out in chat, the channel could get struck. Yeah, you're right. Frosty B. Rocks, it all started with manufacturing migrants, blaming migrants, certain groups and ethnicities for the problems, making Germany great again. CODIS Fact Search, his followers were pushed, prodded, attacked, and demeaned. Crime was out of control because of communism. Enigma Severus Curse has been hopping up and down, which is why he's been radio silent. Well, no, I'm going through a career change, and I'm also kind of debating some other life things. So anyone that prays, to please pray for me. Anyone that has positive vibes, please send them out. I'm hoping I made a right decision, but I know my track record, and I think that's why I'm so anxious about it. Frosty B. Rocks, no, he wasn't. I'm not sure what that is responding to. But let me know. Let me know which of these comments you're responding to when you say no, he wasn't. Fair, right on. Sashi, I've not really liked Trump even before he started running for office. I did see some really evil people halt their schemes when he was in office, and that's part of where I'm going with this. While the media does lie about him significantly, there is enough there to criticize. I'm willing to listen to legitimate and factually based criticism of the man. The reason why I've ended up, well, I've talked about why I've ended up supporting him. Now, is he the answer to our problems? I'm going to anticipate the thought, if not the comment, that CODIS Fact Search is likely to come up with soon. Trump is not the answer. No politician is going to solve all these problems. I am hopeful that maybe he'll get some of this shit out of our way so that we can have some small hope, although I don't know. I know some people feel there is no hope and that the system has just got to collapse and be rebuilt again. And I've been there, and I don't know where I'm at right now. I'm just trying to wait and see what happens. Frosty B. Rocks, he was a Zionist implemented. Are you talking about Trump or the mustache man? I'm interested to know. Frosty B. Rocks forgot to add, then wanting to round up people for deportation. Space Fraggle, I agree with you, Lady Miss. Not a Trump fan after he got into politics. I would definitely say that he would have done so much better, I think, if he'd just been less inflammatory. Having said that, we have talked on this channel about how the other side is just as inflammatory, if not more so. It's just that for some reason that's not covered. For some reason it's okay when you're on the other side to say those things. Give it a watch. What am I watching? You were watching some kind of documentary. Let me go back over the comments and see what you're talking about. Do you remember what it was called, Lady Mist? If I have the time, I'll be happy to watch any documentary that is at least mildly sane. You can't put in a link correctly. Oh, I understand. I have made you a wrench, I hope. Let me be sure, because I don't always do what I think I have done. Maybe I should do impromptu things more often. Okay, my bad. So, add as a moderator. Okay, here we go. There you go. I don't know how long it takes, but you should be a moderator quite soon. Playing Wacka Curtis. Yes, I need to do the impromptus more often. Apparently, Jill just addressed the media about Big B's decision to pardon, meaning Big B can't formulate normal sentences again. The media lies about everything. I have decided that look, you kind of have to cherry pick things, but I've done that on this channel. I've found times when nearly 2/3 of the things said about Trump have turned out to be lies. Again, it was a biased segment of information. Right on. This is why Israel looks like a bunch of zanies today. Same team and partners, 1933 Havara Agreement, further documented by the Durangriff medallions struck in commemoration of partnership. I need to research that. Don't watch regular news on the network. That's good, because it's oh my gosh, it's so bad. Darth Plato Bush was an allied to the H-Man too. There was literally a movie about Mustache Man that tried to compare him to Bush. Oh, Bush was called. Yeah, and again, with respect to you, to the rest of you that think that he is the Mustache Man or comparable. All my life, every single Republican candidate, every single one, has been compared to the Mustache Man. It doesn't faze me anymore. maybe that's a bad thing, but when the media's cried wolf for 50 plus years, at some point you just stop listening. Elie Wiesel spoke strongly against this trivialization of the Third Reich. Yeah, and Weinstein does as well. Frosty B. Rocks, both Trump and the Mustache Man. Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. CODIS Fact Search heard the Biden. Yeah, and the Trump pays for it. Oh man, I've heard really bad things about both. And you and I have talked about that. You have shown some things that have convinced me of the truth of some of it anyway. Space Fraggle, I believe our politicians should be of strong moral character. Yeah, agreed. Sadly, they don't seem to be. Lady Miss, Canada, Mexico, China are all going to stop trade with the U.S. Possibly. I mean, I don't want to completely disagree with you out of hand. I suspect that at least Canada won't stop. Frankly, that China won't stop because we're so much of their economy. But having said that, I could be wrong. Strong moral character won't seek office. Yeah, agreed. All right, have to drive to work. See you guys. See you, Sashi. I agree there, Curtis. Not a Democratic fan either. No, yeah, I've not been a fan of either side for, oh gosh, at least 12 years. Be safe, Sashi. Lady Miss says no. Dang it, I hate when women say no to me. Oh, well, I'm sure she has good reason for it. I'm not sure what she's saying no to, though. Amen. They can't even define moral. Well, yeah, they can't define a woman. So leaders should understand that dealing with other people personally is different from dealing with other states. Well, that's a good point. Politics is ugly. Be well, Sashi. Why do we need leaders? I know what reality shows us, especially considering most humans' mental abilities, but that's a deep and good question. Do we need leaders? Now, I know there's reams of works. You've read more of them than I have about leadership and its importance. But when it comes to it, what if we were all leaders? I don't know. It's a great question. Space Fraggle, Enigma, I agree. The last ones were Ronald Reagan and Jimmy Carter. Yeah, no, I mean, they both had their issues. They weren't perfect. But I would agree that compared to what we've had since, they were both profoundly more moral than what we've had since. Enigma Severus would argue that Ted Cruz and Trey Gowdy are legit leaders, but there are very few these days. CODIS Fact Search, fair Enigma. I like George Bush Sr. He was of good character. I think I'm going to equivocate a little bit here. I think he may have been, but I think he had some people in his staff that were not. Let me know in the chat what you guys think. Enigma Severus, I really hate being compared to the Kool-Aid Man. Wait, no, not what we were discussing. Darth Plato, Ted Kennedy has something to do with this from the Bork SCOTUS nomination. Okay, now let's take a look at what she is sharing. Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. I will try to watch that. Probably not tonight, but sometime soon. I'll have a little bit of time later on this week. Thank you, Lady Miss. Thank you very much. CODIS Fact Search. Okay, Lady Miss, that's a great documentary historian there. So, Lady Miss, if CODIS Fact Search gives it his approval, I am like 98% certain that it's good. And then you liking it just makes it more likely. So, Darth Plato, Kool-Aid Man hasn't been seen since his big red butt burst through a wall in L.A. Oh, wow. I'm not going to repeat that, but that's funny. Frosty B. Rocks got the New World Order lingo from George Bush Sr., and that is also true. Again, I'm not meaning to equivocate, but that is also true. Former head of the CIA, by the way, Henry Kissinger used the phrase multiple occasions. I guess they were conspiracy theorists. Right on. Enigma Severus, my voting has always been toward the lesser of who is nuts, but I've not shied away from sharing my Christianity. Right on. Lady Miss, China has already announced it. They're making deals with South America. Well, okay. I mean, we'll see. You may be right. I may be crazy. That was not at you, LOL. Gotcha. It does leave quite a bit out and doesn't delve into motivations and reasons to the level people should, so as not to repeat the same mistakes. Right on. Yeah, very few documentaries do go into real depth, but I think everyone has been pretty excited about this subject. Enigma, I reached the place of all evil is evil. That said, I'm also really close to just going full Joker. Oh, I sadly understand. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say I understand it, because that almost sounds condescending, and I don't mean it that way. But I understand the that dark thought of, man, this is so messed up, it just can't be fixed. And the best way may just be to bring it down. Lady Miss, dang, 3 hours must have the deleted scenes included. Codus Fact Search, sorry I haven't been on much. No, you're busy, I know. I'm just grateful that you're here now. Gotta roll, y'all. Kids are not going to care if I can't function. Right on. Take care, Codus Fact Search. I hope that you are well. Jeff B., George Bush Sr. was formerly CIA. Head politicians feared him with good reason. Codus Fact Search, I will join your ranks. Notice my avatar photo. Right on. The evil laugh. Sleep well, all, and thanks. Yes, sir. Salute and bless you. CIA is not something to be feared inside the U.S. Even in the Hoover days, it was blown out of proportion. And that's where I'm wondering, I don't know, but I'm wondering if times have changed. And also I frankly wonder about the Kennedy assassination. I know that puts me in with the conspiracy theorists, but I don't know that they did it, but I can't help but think, I don't know, there's just something not quite right that's going on. But all right, let's go ahead and play. I've been staying with the chat. Let's play some more of what Garland has to say about Trump.
Accountable. That's what we do. We don't pay any attention to other issues with respect to that.
Garland spoke with NBC News after new signs emerged that the DOJ is expanding its scope, looking beyond the attack on the Capitol and those involved in fake elector schemes. Although the Washington Post reports that on that front, that a grand jury sent subpoenas to 2 Arizona Republicans last month, asking for communications relating to any effort, plan, or attempt to serve as an elector for the former president. Meanwhile, NBC News confirmed that Mark Short, chief of staff for former Vice President Mike Pence, appeared before a federal grand jury last week. According to multiple reports, Greg Jacob, Pence's former legal counsel, has also testified. Short is the highest ranking former White House official known, that we know of, to have testified before the grand jury. He was with Pence at the Capitol during the insurrection and testified before the House Select Committee in January. Short.
All right. So essentially, this was when there was lots of people saying that Trump needed to be tried for treason. And now those charges have all been dropped. Darth Plato, CIA did not kill Kennedy. I understand. I just wonder. Enigma Severus, Matt Damon, The Good Shepherd, was a great rendition of the birth of the CIA. And yes, pertaining to Kennedy, The Secret Service was hung over, took their own protection detail. Interesting. Lady Misty, crashless government would hurt too many of the poor and not the rich. Yeah, that's the trouble. May insult all those who put their lives on the line to serve it. We must do better than we have been doing on both sides. It was a fustercluck pertaining to the Secret Service accidentally taking out their own guy. And meow, meow, Moira Kitty, welcome, welcome. I am curious what you think of the Kennedy assassination, just because, I have to open the can of worms. And by all means, people, check out Moira's channel. You will get your eyes opened to some things you probably didn't really want to know, but it's out there. Lady Mystic, Crash Discovery. Yes, we both sides do need to get back to morality, need to get back to believing and serving the people instead of ruling the people, and need to get back to at least some level of transparency, because a republic doesn't work without a well-informed electorate, and we can't be well-informed when there's no transparency and there's crap tons of lies. A mouse squeak. Space Fraggle, that is what we like about your shows, Chris. You interact with your fans, include as many of our... Yes, thank you very much. I'm really grateful for anybody who shows up, and I want to, there are some exceptions, although none are here at the moment. But as long as someone isn't a complete troll, I think that everyone deserves to have their say and be heard. The true fact of the matter is, why should you listen to me if I'm not willing to listen to you? That's kind of where I've gotten here, is people who weren't willing to listen to me, to the point where I finally just decided, okay, you guys know everything. I'm going to go see what I can find out on my own. Moira Kitty, I can't type what all I think about JFK. Yes. No, I kind of suspected that. Purrs and hellos, Enigma. Darth Plato Enigma may be referring to the theory that the USSR, maybe, or maybe USSS, and that's maybe something I don't know about. Agent accidentally discharged a firearm and shot JFK from the Secret Service, duh, which also struck John Connolly, a theory I advocate. Interesting. See, I haven't done enough research on Kennedy, and that's one of the reasons why, while I suspect certain things, I try not to say too much, because I don't know enough about it to intelligently discuss it. Oh, and FYI, the best way of knowing about these events is, why would a mob guy who owns a bar decide it was necessary to hurt the supposed culprit hurting Kennedy? I mean, you got a point. You do have a point. What would the mob care unless they were involved? Darth Plato, I agree. It was a fustercluck. Right on. All right. I'm going to try to play at least one more minute or two. Although, I mean, we know what was going on then. And probably I'm not going to change anybody's mind. And I'm not really trying to. I'm just trying to explore the topic right now.
Confirmed his grand jury appearance in an interview with ABC News.
I think that having the Capitol ransacked the way that it was, I think did present liability and danger. And I think the Secret Service did a phenomenal job that day. I think that the bigger risk, and despite the way perhaps it was characterized in the hearings last week, candidly, is that if the mob had gotten closer to the vice president, I do think there would have been a massacre in the Capitol that day.
You think? Meanwhile, there are new developments tonight relating to the Secret Service and text messages from the day of the insurrection that have been erased. Two Democratic House Committee chairs, Carolyn Maloney of Oversight and Benny Thompson of Homeland Security, called for the Inspector General of the Department of Homeland Security to recuse himself from the investigation into the erased text. In a letter to Inspector General Joseph Kafari, they note his, quote, failure to promptly notify Congress of crucial information in his investigation, adding that, quote, these omissions left Congress in the dark about key developments in this investigation and may have cost investigators precious time to capture relevant evidence.
All right. What is everybody's thoughts on that? The cover-up was to hide the Secret Service involvement. The government will never admit such incompetence occurred. That is interesting, and that would also explain at least why it's been kept secret for over 60 years now, I believe. Wow. Hopefully I can be forgiven. I'm going to jump to the other side of midnight. No. So the left essentially, it seemed like they had Trump by the short hairs. We had this riot insurrection thing. We had this committee that said that this was bad. We had lots of small fry people, for good or ill, right or wrong, convicted and imprisoned. And then we get to where we're at now. This is a Forbes article from November 26th of this year. Trump federal cases officially end. Appeals court drops documents case at Jack Smith's request. The federal prosecutions of Donald Trump officially came to an end Tuesday when a federal appeals court dismissed Trump's case for allegedly withholding White House documents. We were talking earlier about the Mar-a-Lago, the documents case. After special counsel Jack Smith asked on Monday that the felony charges against Trump be dropped, ending the historic saga. Smith said the charges must be dismissed before he's inaugurated in January due to the DOJ's decades-old policy of not prosecuting sitting presidents. The charges against Trump for withholding classified documents were dismissed by a Florida-based federal judge earlier this year, but Smith's team dropped its appeal of that decision in Trump's case Monday, and the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals dismissed the case Tuesday in response, though Smith is still appealing the dismissal as it relates to two other defendants. The special counsel also asked the D.C. court Monday to drop the election supervision charges, writing the DOJ and the country have never faced the circumstance here where a federal indictment against a private citizen has been returned by a grand jury and a criminal prosecution is already underway when the defendant is elected president. U.S. District Attorney Judge Tanya Chutkan accepted Smith's request Monday afternoon and dismissed the case without prejudice. Smith signaled the cases could come to an end weeks earlier. On November 8th, 3 days after Trump was elected the next president, Chutkan paused all deadlines upon Smith's request, and Smith said he would provide a status report on December 2 about how he would proceed. Smith made a similar request to pause his appeal of the dismissal of Trump's criminal case in Florida over withholding White House documents on November 13, saying the government needed time to assess this unprecedented circumstance and determine the appropriate course going forward consistent with Department of Justice policy. Crucial quote, Trump responded to the cases being dropped, saying on Truth Social, these cases and others he has faced in New York and Georgia were empty and lawless and should never have been brought. He continued, it was a political hijacking and a low point in the history of our country that such a thing could have happened, and yet I persevered against all odds. Take a look at me now. And won. Last week, Trump's criminal sentencing in his New York hush money case was postponed indefinitely. Trump was found guilty on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records and was scheduled to be sentenced on November 26, but Judge Juan Merchan I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I should watch the news more often, I guess. But he paused the sentencing and asked for briefs on whether the case should be dismissed to be filed by December 9. There's not yet a clear path forward for when the sentencing could take place, but prosecutors' proposed sentencing could be delayed until after Trump leaves office. Meanwhile, Trump's criminal charges in Georgia for trying to reverse his election loss are on hold amid an appeals court fight over the prosecutor. Enigma Severus, love you guys. I must sleep. Respect to everyone being tolerant of possible disagreements. This type of discussion is what I believe made us great once. We should fight to preserve that. And Darth Plato, the Jack Ruby theory. Ruby was the go-between for Oswald and the mafia, who's also doing something with the Cubans. Ruby supplied from mafia or the Cubans or both. Yeah, I have heard that theory. I just don't know the truth of it. Boo! So I am assuming that you are on the side, Space Fraggle, of the charges should not be dropped. And me, here's the deal. With me, it just depends on whether there is any basis. And maybe I'm listening to the wrong sources, but a lot of the people that I listen to, let me put it this way. The people that I listen to either believe that the cases were baseless, or the people that believe that the cases have a base have not presented me with an argument that I feel to be substantive enough to actually go to trial and charge someone and convict someone. He can just pardon himself. I know, and that's debatable, but essentially the fact of the matter is it does seem to be pretty pointless at this time. I mean, if you weren't, okay, fine, you got a conviction, but you couldn't figure out a sentence. You couldn't, basically appellate court said that you were wrong here, there. Now he's president, and he's president with the majority in both of the houses and with the Supreme Court. So what realistic thing can we charge him with based off of just the things that we have in our hands? Now, if you've got like a video of him shooting somebody or something like that, that might do something. Darth Plato, I heard that. Now I must go in Deadpool 2 fashion where I prolong my leaving. Not happy that if they got dropped. I understand. I'm on a different side of the argument, but I understand. If the charges are legitimate, then it's upsetting that they got dropped. It comes back to that moral character issue. Darth Plato wouldn't be surprised if Biden doesn't pardon Trump. I'll be honest, if he did, yes, I have my bias, but my opinion of Biden would actually skyrocket if he did that, because it would demonstrate that that it wasn't just partisan stuff about him, that he wanted the unity of the people. I talked a little bit about it in one of my later streams. Biden was supposed to be the guy who united us. I don't feel like he did a good job of that. I think that would go a long way. It would upset people, I know, but I think it would go a long way to uniting us, to just say, hey, look, my son did what he did. You did what you did. We're going to go on in the future without trying to just beat each other over the head with FBI agents and stuff. Space Fraggle, is a president above the law? That is the question. That is the question. And that's what a lot of my leftist friends have been basically saying legitimizes all this stuff about Trump. And again, that's my point. I don't think the charges are legit, but if they were legit, then absolutely the principle would apply. He should be at least when he was not president, he should have been capable of being prosecuted. My question, from the time of the Mar-a-Lago case till now, it's been, are these legitimate charges? Because what killed it for me, or what started to kill it for me, was all this hopping up and down about espionage and treason. And I'm like, dude, these are over the top charges. If you want to charge him with mishandling of the documents or something like that, cool beans, knock yourself out. But basically trying to destroy the guy, no, that's not legit. Whether we like him or not, whether we think he's a good president or not, just destroying him for the arbitrary purpose of destroying an opponent is not cool. I know that's not what you guys are doing, but I do believe that's what the media and certain politicians have tried to do. Space Fraggle moral and Trump, that's an oxymoron. Darth Plato, wouldn't be surprised if Biden pardons. Right on. There was talk back in 2008 that Obama could pardon Bush, which would be a backhanded insult. Right on. Yeah. Lady Mist, I agree with you. Lady Mist says he shouldn't be president. And Moira Kitty says, did you show everybody Elon Musk's tweet about pardoning Hunter? I don't think I have. Let's see. I think I bookmarked that one. Let me look through my bookmarks. I bookmark a lot of stuff anymore because I'm just so crazy. I don't know. I know I haven't shown that one, but I don't think I bookmarked it either. No. And now it's escaped my mind which one you're talking about. Sorry, I hate having chronic fatigue. Darth Plato, I hear Trump told Trudeau that Canada should become the 51st state and Trudeau be the governor. Yeah, that sounds like a Trump thing to say. Look, yes, I became a supporter, but it's like Joe Rogan said, the man says some outrageous and outlandish shit. It just, I love that Joe Rogan told him that because it's the truth. I will bet that this is Moira reminding me of what I sent. Either that. Yes. Okay. Elon Musk. All right. I'm going to get my Facebook open. Facebook. Darn it. For some reason, Facebook has not wanted to come onto my computer. So let me take a look at it. And the phone, please hold. Your call is important to us. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for reminding me of that. And I will get that one. Now, I know that different people have different ideas of Elon Musk, but I have become a fan. Whether or not that's smart or not, I don't know. But ever since he bought Twitter, and ever since I've been able to actually tweet just almost anything I want and not be blocked, I love it. So, Space Fraggle, I see your point, Curtis. Political weaponization is not a good thing, and it's not. And please, for the love of God, the thing that, on one hand, let me crayfish a little bit here. The 51 FBI agents that swore affidavits that he's a Russian asset, I don't have any sympathy for them. I'm working on the assumption that they lied, and I do that not because it's my predilection, but because CNN and Snopes have both come out and said that they lied. And I just assume that CNN, which has no interest in helping Trump, they're not going to say that they lied unless they lied. Those people, I think, need to be prosecuted because that's just not cool. I mean, maybe not prosecuted, but there needs to be consequences. At the very, very least, if they're still working as agents, they need to be fired. Barest minimum. Having said that, if Trump goes after Biden, that's not cool. If Trump goes after Kamala, that's not cool. If Trump goes after states that voted against him, like, oh, yeah, I remember that the FEMA wasn't supposed to go and help people that had Trump signs. Yeah, but I'm not trying to gotcha you, sir. I'm just trying to point out I'm calling one side out for it, but if Trump does it on the other side, it's just as wrong, just as bad. And my support for him could wither forever if he does some of that crap. Curtis Selby, I may agree with some Republican policy. I'll not think of Trump as honorable unless he does a full turnaround in how he is now. Yes, you did send it, and I have. I don't know why Facebook won't open anymore, but I've got something here. Elon Musk. It may not be the exact one that you sent me on Facebook because I can't get Facebook to open on my computer for some reason that I don't understand. But I do have this. Moira Kitty shared with me that Elon Musk had shared, and this was somebody replying to that share. So if I was smart, I could probably get in there and find it. Joe Biden, no one is above the law, except my son. And, I get it. I think we're all frustrated with the two-tiered system. What the heck? Frosty B. Rocks, I can promise you Canada is very happy being Canada. We don't want to be part of any states. No, I understand that. Trump, freaking Trump, even if Canada was to join the United States, just Canada being a state is ludicrous. But no, I mean, while I do criticize the current government of Canada, I also don't see any reason why Canada would want to join the United States right now. Zuckerberg, right on. Yeah, Zuckerberg. Meow, meow. Canada is just a holdover of the 7 Years' War. Ha ha! Darth Plato has thrown the gauntlet. Obama wasn't in the office in the 80s. He was in the office from January 20, 2009 to January 20, 2017. So he could not pardon anyone in the 80s. That is true. I don't remember anyone saying that Obama was going to pardon someone in the 80s. I think they meant Bush Sr. or Jr. I don't know. Darth Plato, the remark about Obama occurred in the interim days between the 2008 election and the 2009 inauguration. Tim, welcome. I'm calling it Biden is going to resign so he can get a pardon. See Nixon. I've also heard that he might resign so that the Dems could have the first female president, even if it's only for a few weeks. Question, can a pardon be overturned? I'm not an attorney, so I could easily be wrong. My belief is that it cannot be overturned. Having said that, that doesn't give the person carte blanche to do further crimes. Facebook blows, and Darth Plato says no. Yes, that is my understanding. The only way a presidential pardon could possibly be overruled was unless the president was himself involved in the crime, and the Supreme Court would have to say it. I may have missed your chat, Darth Plato. Only mostly perfect. Right on. Tim, Darth Plato, what if there was a deal made in on the pardon? Too vague. Too vague. Yeah. Well, I know there was a lot of controversy about President Ford pardoning Nixon. And while I am no Nixon fan, I do still believe that that was the right thing to do. Just, let's Nixon did what Nixon did. We're not going to condone it, but we're also not going to go on this big witch hunt and break get a big bunch of people upset. Yes, state governors can pardon as well. Yes, sir. All right. So I am going to share one. Well, actually, I probably don't need to share that now. Okay. Since I've brought up Biden's son being above the law, going to share an article from The Hill. President Biden statement announcing Hunter Biden pardon. As we all know, he signed a pardon on late Sunday for his son, clearing him both of his federal cases, rattling the political world. President Biden argued the charges against his son were brought for political reasons. Don't know that I'm going to read the whole statement, but I'll read some of the highlights anyway. From the day I took office, saith Joe, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision making. I kept my word, even as I've watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. And hell, maybe I'm the one in the wrong and he was unfairly prosecuted. I don't think so, but I could be wrong. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. And I'm interested to know what y'all think of that in the chat. The president can only pardon on federal charges. That is my understanding. Yes, that was a good idea to pardon Nixon. Basically, like I said, let's move on. Yeah. And again, if Biden did pardon Trump as well, and I don't know enough about the Nixon situation to speak on that. Right on. It's possible a deal was made when Trump publicly said that Hillary could not be prosecuted during his term, but that could also be optics. Well, that is one of the other reasons why, I know there was all the rhetoric about locking her up, but then he didn't do it. And I honestly, as much as I don't like Hillary, I think that was the right thing to do. I think that, frankly, to me, all the stuff that's happened with trying Trump for all these things, to me, actually proves the point. All it did was build up Trump's base. And the more people went after him, I know it's counterintuitive because probably some of you are thinking, and for good enough reason, for as good a reason as mine anyway, they're going after him because he's done all this stuff. But the people who voted for him don't see it that way. The people who voted for him see it as, oh, they trumped up this charge over here. They trumped up that one over there. They manipulated things over here. This is the kind of thing that happens to us, to the poor, to the black, to the Hispanic, to the woman that's labeled a Karen. And it basically built up the case for him. And so I think Trump would be wise to be very selective. Yeah, go after some people, go after the ones that truly and really and provably did something wrong, but by and large, turning the next 4 years into a witch hunt is not a good idea. Biden says those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently. The charges in his cases came about only after several of my political opponents in Congress instigated them to attack me and oppose my election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal agreed to by the Department of Justice unraveled in the courtroom, with a number of my political opponents in Congress taking credit for bringing political pressure on the process. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Is that true? It is compelling. It's a compelling argument. Prosecuting former presidents is bad optics. It is. Mr. Wonderful pointed it out. It degrades the American brand. It makes people not want to do business with us, which shouldn't be the prime consideration. But let's be practical. It's actually got to be at least a little bit of a factor. I knew George W. Bush pardoned Bill Clinton too, basically like Nixon. Let's move on, right on. Or candidates. Yeah, well, Darth Plato, this is one of the reasons. This is one of the reasons why I've become convinced that most, if not all, of Trump's cases were just politically motivated things, because other candidates are saying similar things. Robert Kennedy is saying similar things. You want to say he's crazy? Fine. Stranahan's saying similar things. She does not strike me as a crazy person. I may be wrong about her, but Darth Plato looks like settling accounts or retaliation or intimidation. So Trump needed to say that about Hillary. Agreed. And he did in his acceptance speech, but then he never brought it up again, which is weird because this is the guy who's usually over. I forgave Hillary. Nobody has ever forgiven Hillary more than I have. I forgave Hillary to such an extent that nobody will ever need to be forgiven for anything ever again. But in this case, he did a terrible job of letting people know. This may be what happened with Nixon. There's something fishy about what happened with Nixon. Again, not to say he didn't have it coming. He went for the bait on the hook, so he does have it coming. But yeah, I humbly suggest that Nixon was set up. Darth Plato, only way I see it being okay is if the president sold us out, something like that. It would have to be so bad to prosecute a former president. And again, that's where I'm at with the cases against Trump. Even though I felt like I'm going to sound like a crayfish here. Even though I felt like the treason and espionage charges were way over the top and not valid for the setup that we had with the Mar-a-Lago documents, I do think that's the kind of charge that is basically the only legitimate charge, maybe murder or something like that. You know, if you really are guilty of treason, if you really have committed espionage and we have proof, not just, I don't know. It's so difficult because when you have 51 freaking FBI agents who've lied, it gets difficult to even decide what the hell proof is. But the long and the short, those would be the only charges at this point that I would say, okay, yeah, he did sell us out. He did do this or that. He needs to be tried. Pretty sure Clinton never was pardoned by anyone for anything. I don't know. I don't know. I can't remember, honestly. Tim, Darth Plato, never mind. He said he wasn't going to go after him. And please God, I hope not. The last controversy about Bill Clinton pardons on his final day. Yeah, there was a lot of controversies about that. I've kind of gotten over it because Clinton's, the only thing that's left as far as Clinton, but it also goes for Trump. I would like to know if either one of them is on the Epstein list, but I don't know if we'll ever find that out. Okay, so what else has been said about Biden pardoning his son? Believe it or not, I'm going to go with Al Jazeera, partly because I don't know how far I trust our American media, and also because while I don't trust Al Jazeera to be more truthful, I think it may be interesting to find out what other nations think of this whole fiasco. Darth Plato Bush said he wasn't going to look into Bill. Gotcha. I think, I don't remember if he pardoned him, but yeah, I think he did basically say, look, we got bigger fish to fry. Bill, whatever you did, you did. So, U.S. President Joe Biden pardons his son despite the pledge not to. There's been an effort to break by Hunter. I think this is quoting his statement, who has been 5.5 years sober, which, if that's true, I only have one question about that, though. And I hate to be unfair. But I kind of have to be, because somebody's cocaine was found in the White House. And they're not telling us whose it is, which tells me, it may not have been Hunter's, but it's somebody important. So I don't know if I believe that, but it would be cool, because I don't want anybody to be an addict. I don't hate anybody that much. So, Hunter, hopefully it's true. God bless you if it is. Even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution, Biden said in a statement released by the White House, in trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me. There's no reason to believe it will stop here. Enough is enough. Explaining his decision, Biden said that throughout his career, he had followed the principle of telling the public the truth out of a belief that Americans are fair-minded. Here's the truth. I believe in the justice system, says Joe Biden. But as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process, and it led to a miscarriage of justice. And once I made this decision this weekend, there is no sense in delaying it further, Biden said. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. Biden's announcement comes weeks before Hunter Biden was set to face sentencing for a string of felonies related to making a false statement about his drug use during a gun background check and failing to pay at least $1.4 million in taxes. Scott Jennings on the CNN clip on this is pretty interesting. I may need to look at that. It was his. The cocaine, yeah, I think it was. I may be being unfair, but I think it was. Ooh, more stuff. Now my Facebook is messing up on my phone too. Listen as an old man fumbles with his Facebook. Tired blogging. Okay, I don't know what happened. I'm of two minds about Clinton. He was sleazy, but he was also the closest thing to a real politic president we've ever had, at least since before Woodrow Wilson. I'm a real politic guy. First lady wants Hunter home for Christmas. That makes sense. You know, it does. And again, I'm a father. Okay. I see. Facebook isn't messing with me. It's just that I'm not smart enough to know how to click a button. Thank you very much. I won't repeat what you said. I will keep your secret. Biden's announcement. The outgoing president's decision is likely to stoke debate about the independence of the U.S. justice system, which is already in the spotlight amid warnings by critics that President-elect Donald Trump intends to use law enforcement agencies stacked with loyalists to target his political rivals. I know some of you believe that that's true, or maybe I shouldn't put words in your mouth. Please let me know. Do you think that that is true? And real can of worms here. I do not think so, but just in case you do you think he's justified if he does do that? Again, I do feel it's justified if he gets rid of the FBI agents that lied about him. But I think going much further than that would not be right. Rail politic. Okay, got it. I should know that. I've read enough English translations of Russian. Oh, nice. Okay, thank you, John. I have the best people. Okay. Well, again, your secret is safe with me. Thank you for the, I don't know if I'm going to say confirmation, but for the information. You're very kind. I suspected, but the few insiders I have are not very, very high up. And most of them, like I had a friend who was in the military who wasn't real high up, but he was a little bit high up, but he lost his, he had to resign because he wouldn't take the vaccine. Trump, who's faced a string of criminal cases before his reelection, all but assured that he will not suffer serious legal consequences, blasted the pardon as an abuse of power, which sounds like Trump. Does the pardon given by Joe to Hunter include the J6 hostages who have now been in prison for years? Trump said on his social media platform, Truth Social, referring to people convicted of crimes related to the January 6th riot. Such an abuse and miscarriage of justice. Yes. Okay. Cool beans. The younger Biden had faced a maximum of 25 years in prison in the tax case. Wow. And 17 years in the firearms case. Though he would have almost certainly received much less severe punishment under federal sentencing guidelines. Still, that is more than I, if he was convicted of some of the other things I've heard about, maybe, but just for the taxes and the gun thing, yeah, that's too long, I think, to be in prison. Special counsel David Weiss, who is appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland to probe allegations against Hunter Biden, brought the charges after an earlier plea deal collapsed under scrutiny from a judge. In justifying the pardon, Biden said people are almost never brought to trial for wrongfully filling out a gun purchase form. The president said that Republicans who cited Hunter Biden's overseas business activities in a since abandoned impeachment effort had used his son's troubles to damage him and oppose his election. Then a carefully negotiated plea deal unraveled in the courtroom. Biden's pardon covers not only his son's tax and firearms convictions, and this is where I feel my flesh crawl a little bit. He's pardoned for any other offenses he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from January 1st of 2014 through December 1st of 2024. Part of me doesn't like that. But again, I'm a father, and I would have probably done the same thing. In June, Biden had flatly ruled out the possibility of granting his son a pardon or commuting his sentence. I said, I will abide by the jury decision. I will do that. I will not pardon him. And I do kind of hold him accountable for that. He should have, frankly, he shouldn't have said that he wouldn't do it. Again, I'm a father. I don't give enough of a crap about politics. I don't think I would ever say that I wouldn't pardon my son. In a statement on Sunday, Hunter Biden said the mistakes he had made in the throes of addiction had been exploited to publicly humiliate and shame me and my family for political sport. Both sides do that, and I hate it. In recovery, we can be given the opportunity to make amends where possible and rebuild our lives if we never take for granted the mercy that we have been afforded, he said. That's pretty well put. I will never take the clemency I have been given today for granted and will devote the life I have rebuilt to helping those who are still sick and suffering. Under the U.S. Constitution, according to Al Jazeera, presidents have almost unlimited power to grant clemency to people convicted of federal crimes. Shortly before the end of his first term, Trump pardoned Charles Kushner, the father of his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, after he did jail time for convictions for tax evasion, illegal campaign contributions, and witness tampering. In 2001, former U.S. President Bill Clinton pardoned his half-brother, Roger Clinton Jr., who served more than a year in prison in the 80s after trying to sell cocaine to an undercover police officer. Oopsie. All right. Lady Mist, as a military brat and service member, I've had so many vaccines. I have superpowers now. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. He can change his mind. Why can't it? Well, no, you're right. You have a point. It does look bad to have said that and then end up doing it, but it's not unforgivable. And once again, my hope, my thought is that if I were president and had a son in that situation, I would just keep my damn mouth shut. Because I would know that I was going to pardon him, and I wouldn't want to lie to myself and or the American people and do what I didn't say. Now, having said that, you're right. It is legitimate for people to be able to change their minds. And both sides are guilty all too often of wagging their fingers and, well, they changed their mind. Like, for example, let's use the example of Kamala, who I didn't like. I didn't vote for her. But, you know, when people talked about her flip-flopping, look, maybe it is very possible she just changed her mind. I'm not meaning to be flippant about this example. And that's totally legit. Maybe she learned some things over the course of the 4 years. But water under the bridge now. We hold Biden to such tight rules, but let Trump off with anything. Again, respectfully, Lady Mist, the people who voted for him see it distinctly the other way. I would suggest that what it is the right holds Biden to tight rules, but lets Trump off with virtually anything. The left holds Trump to tight rules and lets Biden off with virtually anything. Not suggesting you do. I hope I don't do that. But it does seem to be the way of the world. Going to share a few things on Twitter, and then I'm going to call this an impromptu stream. Tomorrow, I intend to stream for a little bit, probably for an hour or so before Sparkwood in 21, unless there's another stream before that. But the tomorrow's topic is going to be, if we are the media, what does that mean and what do we do with it? Lady Mist doesn't let either of them off. Good on you. Because to me, it's got to be the same. Either you're going to hold them both to the fire, or you're going to have mercy and grace for both of them. This either, my side's fine, but your side is evil. That crap, and I know that's not what you're doing, but that crap that so many do, and that frankly I've probably done in the past. Hopefully I don't do it again, but I'm human. Maybe I will. But it does need to stop. Either it's okay that Trump did this, and therefore it's okay that Biden did that, or it's wrong that one of them did this, so it's wrong that the other one did that. They both need a lot of improvement. Agreed. I'm losing people. But hopefully, you know what? Before I do that, let me make sure that I know what I want to share. Oh, yep. No one is above the law. I talked about that. Oh, I see. It helps if I go to the right place. This is the segment where I share silly stuff that I have seen on Twitter. And just a sideline, this is where my partisanship is allowed to just blatantly show. So if you don't want to listen to this part, I understand. But I'm going to try to make this one a little more entertaining. Trump did do a very few things right last time. Just he did way too many stupid and not good things that overshadowed anything good. And until recently, I would have agreed with you. I do get what you're saying. And if nothing else, his rhetoric's over the top. And I sometimes wish he would just pull back on that. And there are times when he can, even though I don't believe that he's a bigot. I don't believe that he's racist. I don't believe he's a homophobe. But he can still present himself as a very hateful person. And I think that's turned a lot of people off of him. Oh, yeah, check out the Scott Jennings CNN interview. Yes. In fact, I will so do this now, since it is at least sort of a thing that I got on Twitter. Why is my computer doing that? Doo-dah. When your computer does weird things. Okay, this was shared from John Pontorero. Let's take a gander. CNN political commentators get into a heated debate over the Hunter Biden pardon.
Pardon has been swift. Republican lawmakers quick to criticize President Biden over this. Some Democrats also speaking out about the bad precedent that they fear that this sets. The incoming chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Republican Chuck Grassley, weighing in with this, saying, "I'm shocked that President Biden pardoned his son Hunter because he said many, many times he wouldn't, and I believed him. Shame on me." CNN's Lauren Fox tracking the reaction in Washington for us. And there's a lot that we've already heard and likely a lot more to come, Lauren.
Yeah, lawmakers expected back in Washington this evening. We can expect that a lot of Republicans are going to be lashing out after this news broke late last night. But there are a number of Republicans who are making the argument that Joe Biden had said one thing and then done another Now, there were also Republicans in the House who had worked on that impeachment probe, someone like Representative Jim Jordan, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, who said if there was nothing to their probe, why is Hunter Biden being pardoned now? Obviously.
And what do you guys think about that point? Hey, Charlotte Nightstar the werewolf. Oh, welcome, welcome. I'm glad to see you're, at least for a little bit, back on social media. Hope you've been doing well. Lady Miss believes that Trump thinks he's a king and better than anyone else. Yeah, I don't doubt that there's at least some truth to that. Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. Why did Biden do it? Well, I won't reread the stuff, but essentially Biden was saying that the only reason why Hunter Biden was convicted and given such a harsh conviction was because he was Joe Biden's son and that his political opponents were going against him. Now, I hope that this is not taken badly, but it does sound Trump-esque. And that's, again, where we've got, I think, to judge both sides by the same coin. If Trump is able to pardon his relative, I can't remember the relation now, I'm having a senior moment, then why can't Biden pardon his son? Even though I do agree that it looks bad that he said over and over and over again he wouldn't do it, and now he does it. But I can forgive him because I'm a father. I would probably have pardoned my son. But I hope I wouldn't protest that I wasn't going to do it. People saying hello. 157 starts the debate. Okay, I will skip to 157. Or 154, anyway. All righty. And I will look at the chat before I go back. The Dems are such little baby. Yes, get a backbone, Dems. Brett Cooper's take on the Hunter Biden pardon. Oh, more stuff to watch. All right, I will watch that. Oh, I love that channel. Wonderful, wonderful. I will watch that later and maybe show it tomorrow because it may dovetail into the topic for tomorrow. All right, day. And by the way, everybody, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to and check out Real Wade Nation Gaming Clips. He has some wonderful gaming clips on his channel. And check out and subscribe to Charlotte Nightstar the Werewolf. She makes a lot of amazing content, but especially her music is just wonderful. So, CNN political commentators get heated.
Of his peers. Kate.
Lauren, thank you so much for that. John.
All right, with us now, CNN political commentator Karen Finney and CNN senior political commentator Scott Jennings. So, Karen, you just heard Democrat Greg Stanton, Democratic governor of Colorado Jared Polis. There are Democrats saying they're not happy that President Biden made this decision.
Yeah, well, tough. The president went ahead and did what he thought was right for him and to protect his son. And I think there are going to be Democrats who, from a political perspective, are going to feel like they may have to say something, but who probably on the inside understand why President Biden went ahead and did this. And I got to tell you, crowing from Republicans, and I know my dear friend Scott will have plenty to say about this, but we're talking about, Donald Trump is a convicted felon who literally had pardoned his daughter's father-in-law and just made him ambassador to France. So if we're going to talk about, who's using what system in what fashion, let's put it all on the table and let's be honest about the fact that Donald Trump doesn't really have a leg to stand on in this one.
All right. What are you guys' thoughts about that? Lady Mist says, why are we wasting time on Hunter? Move on. both sides get off your stupid butts and govern this country for us, the people. Good point there. I'm wasting my time on it because I think that it's interesting because the both sides often end up doing very similar things, and we tend to hate the one side, not you, but people in general. The side that I'm opposed to right now, when they do it, it's bad, it's evil, it should be against the law, they should be convicted. My side does it, it's just human, it's okay, you know. I mean, people do things. Charlotte Night Star, it's a distraction, only a distraction, like the Nancy Mace trans fight. Lady Miss, they all are acting like little baby grade schoolers. Mine's bigger than yours. No, mine's bigger. None of yours are big. Get back to work. Right on, right on. It's nice to see point counterpoint debate is good. Yes. No, I know. I know exactly what you meant, Lady Mist. I'm not sure if I responded in a great way, but I knew what you meant. So she said what she said. Now let's see what the gentleman says.
So, Scott Jennings, what about that? Steve Bannon, Charles Kushner, Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, and Charles Kushner not just pardoned, but also apparently about to be nominated ambassador to France.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else. He ran to banish Trumpism from our political system in this country, and he has left it politically and now institutionally the strongest possible political force in this country. It is a complete and utter failure by the head of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States. Never again do I want to hear, oh, Donald Trump's a liar. You can't believe.
All right. I will play some more, but what do you think about President Curtis? I would run on a none of the above ticket, and I would have the slogan from Brewster's Millions, don't vote for me, I'll just screw things up. And that's a promise. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube, but yes, Jane, you ignorant blank.
Believe anything he says. Donald Trump will abuse his power. Donald Trump will only use the system to benefit himself and his family and so on and so forth. Never again. I have one question for Karen, and that is, why did he need an 11-year blanket pardon going back to 2014 when Joe Biden was the vice president? We are sitting on the biggest cover-up of who knows what crimes, and Joe Biden amazingly knows exactly, roughly, when it started. He knows just about when it all started. He's leaving office in complete and total disgrace. He is a liar, and there is no other way to spin this today. This has nothing to do with Trump and everything to do with the character of Joe Biden.
Let me give some context to what Scott is saying just there, Karen, before you address it, because this pardon, I do not believe we have mentioned it, not just granting clemency for the crimes for which Hunter Biden was convicted of illegally purchasing a gun of tax evasion, but also a blanket pardon for any federal crimes that may have been committed basically between 2014 and 2024.
All right. What are y'all's thoughts on that? Beep. Figures her name is Karen. That may be better. I haven't really had much respect for politicians for a while. And again, I had my change as far as changing to becoming a Trump supporter, but I have no illusions that he's perfect or wonderful or any of that. If he were, at least some portion of this stuff would not be happening. But anyway.
So what about that literal get out of jail free card for a 10-year period, Karen?
Well, look, literally, the president recognizes that Republicans have been for years now trying to attack the president himself, go after his family. And when you have someone who literally ran their campaign on retribution, on the idea of I will be your retribution and getting back at his enemies, I would imagine, obviously I haven't spoken to the president about this, but I would imagine the president took a look at this and said, I want to make sure this is ironclad, that there is nothing that can be done to circumvent what I'm going to do to protect my son and to try to take the target off of his back. Final.
Okay, what do you guys say about that? Biden severed honorable foe decades. He's not what that dumb jerk said. He's a limelight liquor. Okay.
Once and for all. So that's my reading of it. But again, I think that the hypocrisy here, it is astounding. I mean, Donald Trump has said and done things, said things and done other things. And again, he's a convicted felon himself. He has used his power to benefit his friends, his wealthy allies. In this instance, we're talking about a man who decided to take care of his son after years of unrelenting attacks. I don't blame him.
Scott, did you have the same concerns over a justice system for the elite, as you put it before, when it was Donald Trump pardoning Steve Bannon, Paul Manafort, Roger Stone, Michael Flynn, Charlie Kushner? Same concern then?
Listen, you guys can spend all day long trying to spin this, that this is Donald Trump's fault, that this is somehow
That came out wrong. That's okay. I do have one question. Why are we bringing Trump into it? And I ask that question because whatever Hunter Biden did, I suspect it was not Trump that made him do it. Now, I can understand that there may have been powerful Republicans that went after Hunter Biden, but then at least those of us who voted for Trump perceive it that the whole weight and force of the FBI and CIA and things beyond that were sent after Trump. So I think it depends on which side you're looking from, whether there's hypocrisy and where the hypocrisy comes from. $45 million. Okay, Biden served honorably for decades. That guy complaining is the limelight liquor. Pardoned. Why work again? Right on. I guess I probably need to do more research into this gentleman, but I have my bias. I'm not going to say that somebody's won this debate, but the only thing I have to say as far as what she's saying is why even bring up Trump? He hasn't been in power for 4 years. Yeah, he may have influenced some of the people who brought the charges against Hunter Biden, but to be frank, I don't think that we as a people who ended up supporting Trump would have hopped up and down so much about Hunter if we didn't see Trump getting so many charges against him. Maybe that's bad thinking, but if Trump had lost the election, Hunter wouldn't have been pardoned. Trump would have annihilated Hunter if there's no pardon. Maybe an act done by the consequence of fear. Maybe. How many millions involved in the father-in-law pardon? I don't know. Are you suggesting that it's 45 million? Because I don't know. If Trump sends out the military to control civilians, will you say that's wrong? 1, yes, unequivocally. 2, he didn't do it before. Now, I know he said that there were things sent into riots. I don't know if that was done by Trump or who that was done by. But he didn't do it before, with possible exception of some actual literal riots. And I would pose the question to you, what are you supposed to do with a riot? I don't know. I don't know that I'm smart enough to have an answer for that. All right. I will let that go and share pointless things that I've seen on Twitter. Da, 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 da. All right. I think I'll just share this one thing, actually. And I might just share it on YouTube. All right. Trump's son-in-law made millions when Trump was in office, but that's okay. Well, fine. That's wrong, although I don't know enough about that case. I didn't say it was okay. And I think it's disingenuous, no offense meant, but to straw man it that way. If what Hunter has done is bad, then obviously what Trump's relative did, although I don't know enough about it, but if those allegations are true, that's bad too. The Kent State Massacre. All right, let's do that. But I'm going to use this place. All righty. Oh, dang it. Of course, it's not going to do it that way. Oh, wow. That was a powerful thing. I should have shared that, but I'm not going to muddy the waters now. So all right. May 4, 1970, the May 4 shootings at Kent State University. On May 4 of 1970, members of the Ohio National Guard fired into a crowd of Kent State University demonstrators, killing 4 and wounding 9 Kent State students. The impact of the shootings was dramatic. The event triggered a nationwide student strike that forced hundreds of colleges and universities to close. H.R. Haldeman, a top aide to President Richard Nixon, suggests the shootings had a direct impact on national politics. In The Ends of Power, Haldeman states that the shootings at Kent State began the slide into Watergate, eventually destroying the Nixon administration. Beyond the direct effects of the May 4, the shootings have certainly come to symbolize the deep political and social divisions that so sharply divided the country during the Vietnam War. In the nearly 3 decades since May 4 of 1970, a voluminous literature has developed analyzing the events of May 4 and their aftermath. Some books were published quickly, providing a fresh but frequently superficial or inaccurate analysis of the shootings. These books have the advantage, numerous additional books have been published on subsequent years. These books have the advantage of a broader historical perspective. Skip down to a bit. The decision to bring the Ohio National Guard onto the Kent State University campus was directly related to decisions regarding American involvement in the Vietnam War. Richard Nixon was elected president of the United States in 1968, based in part on his promise to bring an end to the war in Vietnam. During the first year of Nixon's presidency, America's involvement in the war appeared to be winding down. In late April of 1970, however, the United States invaded Cambodia and widened the Vietnam War. This decision was announced on national television and radio on April 30 of 1970 by Richard Nixon, who stated that the invasion of Cambodia was designed to attack the headquarters of the Viet Cong, which had been using Cambodian territory as a sanctuary. Protests occurred the next day, Friday, May 1st, across the United States college campuses. Now, while I didn't read about this subject, I did read the biography of the president of Notre Dame University. He talked about these incidents, and he was really intent that, he strongly advised Nixon not to be sending troops to the colleges. Obviously, at least in this case, he evidently didn't listen, or somebody didn't. At Kent State University, an anti-war rally was held at noon on the Commons, a large grassy area in the middle of campus, which had traditionally been the site for various types of rallies and demonstrations. Fiery speeches against the war and the Nixon administration were given. A copy of the Constitution was buried to symbolize the murder of the Constitution because Congress had never declared war, and another rally was called for noon on Monday, May the 4th. Friday evening in downtown Kent began peacefully. Let me skip down. Next day, Saturday, May the 2nd, Mayor Satram met with other city officials and a representative of the Ohio National Guard who had been dispatched to Kent. Mayor Satram then made the decision to ask Governor Rhodes to send the Ohio National Guard to Kent. The mayor feared further disturbances in Kent based upon the events of the previous evening, but more disturbing to the mayor were threats that had been made to downtown businesses and city officials, as well as rumors that radical revolutionaries were in Kent to destroy the city and the university. Satram was fearful local forces would be inadequate, so he called the governor's office to make an official request for assistance. Sunday, May 3, nearly 1,000 Ohio National Guardsmen occupied the campus, making it appear like a military war zone. The day was warm and sunny, however, and students frequently talked amicably with guardsmen. Ohio Governor James Rhodes flew to Kent on Sunday morning, and his mood was anything but calm. Oh boy. At a press conference, he issued a provocative statement calling campus protesters the worst type of people in America and stating that every force of law would be used to deal with them. Rhodes also indicated that he would seek a court order declaring a state of emergency. This was never done, but the widespread assumption among both Guard and university officials was that a state of martial law was being declared in which control of the campus resided with the Guard rather than university leaders, and all rallies were banned. Let's skip down a bit. Four Kent State students died as a result of the firing by the Guard. The closest student was Jeffrey Miller, who was shot in the mouth. All right. So, John Ponderero, they're sending the National Guard to my town today for snow removal. They said that wouldn't happen, but students died. Not directed to you, just thoughts put out there. No, it's legitimate. I am going to say, though, that this wasn't Trump. I don't want to get too flamboyant, because with my luck, tomorrow Trump will declare martial law or something stupid. But at the moment, John is grateful to the National Guard. To me, it sounds like there was a very stupid governor, which doesn't mean that makes it any better. The snow removal equipment is way better than any I've seen. Lady Miss, police are there to serve and train for that. Military is trained to kill and obey orders in war. Not wrong. Not wrong. But once again, with the possible exception of the riots up in the northwest portion of the country, I don't remember Trump ever sending the military. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Sorry about that. But yeah, I'm full of oopsies. Okay, let's share pointless things on X and then call it a stream. This I'm going to share tomorrow. So I will share this. All right. Carrie Elways, please join me in wishing this guy a very happy birthday. This is Mandy Patinkin. I know, pointless. Let's see. Donald Trump, Elon Musk shared this one. Donald Trump and Tulsi Gabbard are both opposed to Section 702 of the Foreign Surveillance Intelligence Act, which authorizes electronic surveillance on American soil. If they quash it, the FBI will lose a major source of intelligence. Some of you may remember that Rachel Maddow was hopping mad about that we were going to lose that. Glenn Greenwald responds here. FISA's Section 702 didn't exist until 2008 when the Pelosi-led House enacted it. It retroactively legalized Bush-Cheney spying on Americans without warrants. The ACLU sued to stop it. But now that it's Trump and Gabbard that is opposed, everyone acts like it's a sacred part of U.S. history. And Elon Musk is thinking about that. The Young Turks guy, what the right doesn't know is that buried inside the left is the nicest, sweetest people you'll ever meet. Since people mainly see either the most extreme leftist or corporate Democrats, what they don't see is the well-meaning, kind, caring, and thoughtful left that I see every day. Lady Miss, this time he said it was way too many times he would. He feels more emboldened in power now. Okay. Glad nothing was done for Chaz. Okay. All right. Netters Network shared this. Just a reminder, as the cold weather sets in, animals are attracted to the warmth of your vehicle. Always check your car before driving. Again, the Young Turks guy, I've been trying to figure out why I'm more optimistic now than I was before the election, even though I was so against the guy who won. I know now. MAGA is not my mortal enemy, and neither is the extreme left. My mortal enemy is the establishment, and they have been defeated. Brett Weinstein, every excess of the COVID era and all the hyperventilating about Trump was in the name of our safety. The fact that the same safety-obsessed regime is now risking a nuclear war for no reason at all should cause scales to fall from a great many eyes. Our safety was always a cover story. These people don't care about us, clearly. Now, I know that the argument was made by Keaton that Trump doesn't respect you, Trump doesn't care about you. I would suggest the other side doesn't either. Lady Mist, I watched him in an interview where he thinks it's good to remove people's guns from them if just suspected of suspicion, and the due process is later after the gun seizure. Yeah, that's not cool. That's not cool. I'll find it, give you the link in the comment later. Sure thing. Yeah, sure. I don't want to be a Kool-Aid drinker. I say where I stand, but only so you know what you're dealing with.
Illusion. It's all a fuck.
Okay, this
what you're seeing with Trump.
Okay, Elon Musk shared this. It's a coordinated psychological operation. This was from Joe Rogan. I thought this was interesting. Whether you like him or not, Joe Rogan has had a similar 4 or 5 year journey like I have. Not exactly like I have. His involves ayahuasca, but
Regardless of his
Yeah.
flaws, what you're seeing with Trump, regardless of flaws, is a massive, concentrated psyop. They've distorted who he is to the point where most people think that way. Most people think that way. They've had narratives.
What is a psyop? I keep hearing that.
Psychological operation
Whoa.
where they've decided to distort people's
The reality
perceptions
of
of,
it.
things.
Yeah, when you tell an older liberal that like the Obama deportations were higher than the Trump deportations, they go, "No, what? No." And you go, "No, let me just Google deportations,
Right,
Obama
right.
versus Trump," and you go, "It's lower." They go, "Wait, what?" Like, here's 19 straight articles saying that I'm right.
Yeah.
And they go, "That doesn't make sense." And you go, "Right. Focus on what's giving you
Hold
the
on.
reality of the world."
Check this out. Jamie, go to that Hillary Clinton thing that I texted you today.
JMO.
This one is wild. This
What is
is
it?
Hillary Clinton in like 2008, and Hillary Clinton saying some wild MAGA type shit about.
Oh, she.
all right. Lady Mist was shocked as well. Dadman Walking, welcome. Passing through, say hi and like. About to watch Gremlins. Oh, I may have to call this a stream pretty soon. I'd like to. Oh, are you watching it on a stream or just with your wife? Ha. Over chatted again. Right on. Oh, nope. That's not what I'm sharing. I'm sharing this.
You used to say
Oh, and let me know if you can hear it. Sometimes the people can't hear what Twitter is sharing.
Wildest shit about illegal immigrants.
she-
Hold on. Go.
What?
Back from the beginning. Do it from the beginning. It's okay. Do it from the beginning. But want
I
to hear
think we
it.
got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone. If
She's a Republican.
they've been working and are law abiding, we should say, here are the conditions for you staying. You have to pay a stiff fine because you came here illegally. You have to pay back taxes. And you have to try to learn English.
Oh,
and you have to wait in line.
Anyone
You
else
have to
hard?
wait in line. You have to wait in line, and everybody's cheering.
So
2008. Hillary Clinton was more MAGA than Trump.
She's
How about
always been a
that?
Republican.
But how about that?
Wow.
More MAGA than Trump.
And then
it's
you
all
couldn't believe
a
that if you
fucking
watched the news.
illusion. It's all a fucking illusion.
What do you guys think about that? We're watching it together for a stream on Wednesday night. Okay, gotcha. Cool beans. Dad Man is live on a stream. Okay. I, in that case, will show 2 or 3 more things and call it a stream so people can go and watch Dad Man. Juanita Broderick, she says this is true but painful to acknowledge. Jim Jones persuaded 900 people to drink Kool-Aid. Anthony Fauci calling him an amateur. I think I'm going to share that one tomorrow. I'll share this one today, though. I guess I should put it into context. Fletcher Williams shared this. This is the reopening and renovation of the Notre Dame Cathedral. think a lot of this is stuff I will share on tomorrow's stream. So I'll have to try to remember that it starts with that. I just thought that was beautiful, especially after the stream that I did with all those churches closing down or being burned down. It's good to see one coming back on its feet. Dad Man's not live now. We ended earlier. Sashi, I'm beginning to think you guys learned it from us over here in Southeast Asia. Probably took notes. Right on. All right, need to get back to work. Busy day ahead. Right on. And I need to call it a stream soon. I need to go to bed soon. I've just had so much fun with you guys. Lady Miss picked strawberries as a kid. It's hard work. Get off the backs of those that do the dirty, hard work most Americans won't do. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. My thing with immigration, it isn't that I want immigrants stopped. I just want a secure border. And I assume likely you do too. Lady Miss, can you see the kids going out in the heat and work? Yeah. I grew up on a farm. I know that, heck, you probably worked harder than I did, but I know I worked hard enough. And when I think of kids who really had it worse than I did, it's tough. I really wouldn't have. The work I don't resent because it made me strong, and Dad didn't overwork me, but the thing that I resented was his alcoholism. That's a talk for another day. All right, I don't know that we established anything or not, but at the end of the day, Trump's charges are dropped. Hunter Biden is pardoned. Does that mean there's no justice? Does it mean that there is grace? I'm open to both ideas, but I am going to call it a stream. Let's start the soft prone music. Tomorrow's topic will be hopefully less divisive. Tomorrow's topic is going to be that if we are the media, as Elon Musk says we are, what does that mean? What do we do with that information? Leftover hamburger helper, some craft beer in this stream. Great end to hard days night. You've worked hard, John. You worked hard in the last couple of days. He's been buried by, what, a foot or maybe more of snow? Maybe 2 feet. I asked one of the high schoolers living here what state Hawaii is in. Oh, no. It means life is good. They said Africa. Yeah, our education. Oh, my gosh. It's tough. And I've got great friends. Well, CODIS Fact Search and Enigma Severus are both teachers. So they're good teachers. I would say not, at least not all teachers are bad, but something's broken with our education system. I don't know that we need to get rid of the Department of Education, although I respect and totally understand the people who think we should. I don't know. I need to do a little more research on that before I make a verdict. Well, let's thank everybody in the chat. Call it a stream. Trump's above the law. Why not a few Dems have that too? Right on, Lady Mist. Thank you for coming in and for your moderation. Sorry that I didn't make you a mod before. I don't know what the heck I'm thinking. LDG free the net. Innocent people should always be above the law. Thank you for the comment, and thank you for your striving to free the net. Jeff B., thank you for your kind comment, for showing up. I hope you were entertained and or informed. Enigma Severus, rules for thee, not for me. Thank you again for your kind comment. Frosty B. Rocks, thank you for showing up and for your kind comment. Darth Plato, thank you very much. The most predictable Biden move. Who else was here? So many. Darth Plato for the kind comments and for showing up. Sashi, the man from the future, thank you for showing up and for your kind comments. Doobie doobie doo doo doo. If I haven't already, John Ponderero, thank you very much for showing up and for your kind comments, also for sharing information. I hope you get some rest after the snow. And I hope that your roof is fine. Kapla to Space Fraggle. Glory to you and your house. Codis Fact Search. Mustache Man was created by the communists. They sure as hell didn't help matters. I may have everybody. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? Oh, I know who I'm missing. Moira Kitty. Meow, meow. Thank you for showing up and for your kind comment. Man, we were all over the place today. I don't know if that's good or bad. Hopefully good. I'm glad y'all were eager to discuss things. It gets boring when it's just me spouting out everything that I think I know. Tim, thank you very much. And also thank you for friending me on Facebook and for the information that you shared. Mum's the word, but thank you for letting me know. Doom, 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 doo, dee, doo, 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 doo. Charlotte Night Star the werewolf. Oh, thank you for showing up and for your kind comment. I hope that you are doing well. I know life has been a little bit difficult. And I believe the last one to come in, but not the least, Dad Man Walking. If you haven't already, I think y'all have, but if you haven't, check out his channel, subscribe, check out his wonderful content. I saw that one kid say he was leaving the country and moving to Hawaii when Trump won. Me, I guess the rain's down in Africa. My sister's a teacher. Some of my friends, it's hard work. Yeah, my sister did it for a while. I have always wanted to be like a college professor or something, but I don't think I could be a school teacher. I don't know. Sean is doing better than expected. Take care. Everyone have fun for the rest of your evening. This was fun. Good. Thank God. I'm glad it was. Love good discussions. I do too. So it's been said that life is pain, and anyone trying to tell you otherwise is trying to sell you something. I, in fact, am trying to sell you something. Trying to sell you on the idea that liberty is better than slavery and that freedom is better than tyranny. I'm trying to sell you on the idea that you are, in fact, smart enough to run your life, to know what you need to do. You don't need big companies and big government to tell you how to run your life. Neither Trump nor Biden need to be telling you how to run your life. And lastly of all, I would like to let you know that you are not going mad. You're going sane and gone mad. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.